Cause I'm a wheel burner. I was burning down the road. Yes, I'm a wheel burner. This life never gets old. Cause I'm a wheel burner. Come on, wheel burners. Take a ride on the Wheel Burner Express.
Hey, wheel burners! It's a beautiful morning. I'm actually at home. I was out on the road. I was out for just about a month, and so I got home yesterday, and I'm going to be home for 4 or 5 days. I don't usually like to be out for a month at a time. Now, I was out for a month, but I was able to get by the house here a couple of times. I think twice I was able to get in for a quick overnight. I'd get the truck parked and Dard come out and pick me up and bring me home for a meal and a shower and some laundry. So yeah, I'm home now for a couple of days, and I'm going through, I'm spending more time and going through a lot of the comments more and more. I try to go through as many comments and I try to answer as many as I can. But one comment that keeps coming up is where's the trucking industry? Where do we see this going? And it's a really good question. It really is. Actually, first and foremost, I was watching. I was on my way out. I was in the truck and I was driving, and I was watching. Actually, I wasn't watching, but I had James Best, the other trucker, James Best. He did a live the other night there, and man, he was on fucking fire. I love the guy when he gets wound up. But anyway, James was he was off on a really good rant, and he was playing some Boy George music. I couldn't handle that. But I had it. I just put the phone on the holder, and I had it piped through the truck, so I was just listening to it. But I did notice that James was always smoking a cigar, and as you know, guys, I'm a cigar smoker myself. So you know, I throw my comments in, and when James is on doing these rants back and forth and everything. So I made a comment to him, and I asked him for his address, because down in the States, they can't get real Cuban cigars. So I told James, he goes, give me your address and I'll send you a couple of cigars. Now, I don't expect James to be watching this, but I did. I sent him a couple of cigars yesterday. So James, if by chance you are watching this, your cigars are on their way. You put your address up on the screen. I got it, and then I lost it. I actually had to phone Nevada to get your address again. So Nevada gave it to me. So your cigars are on the way, and I was in the truck, so I obviously didn't have access to my humidor, so I didn't know, exactly what I had. I thought I had two Monte Cristo. I thought I had Monte Cristo number 2s in there, and usually I keep them stocked pretty good, but unfortunately I didn't. But what I did have is I had one Monte Cristo number 2, a petite, and I had a full Churchill Romeo, a couple of Churchill Romeo. So I promise you 2 Monte Cristo number 2s. You're going to get one number 2, and you're going to get a Romeo Churchill. So, brother, I'm sorry. I promised you one thing, and I'm sending you another. But they are Cuban, and I'm sure you'll appreciate the Romeo just as much as you as the Monte Cristo. Enjoy them, man. And just keep being bad. You are one bad motherfucker, man, and I really enjoy listening to you. But anyway, this is not about promoting James Best. Hold on, I got something biting me here. This is not about promoting James Best. Actually, let's find out. What am I smoking here? I'm smoking a Rocky Patel, and this is a vintage 2003 Cameroon. These things are awesome, and you can get these in the States. These are from Rocky Patel's from Honduras, and their cigars are fantastic. Really, really good. Really enjoy them. So that's what I'm smoking right here. It's one of those cigars you can smoke morning, evening, or night. It's a well blended cigar. But we're not here to talk about cigars. We're here to talk about trucking. and the trucking business. And where the hell is the trucking business going? And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm just going to quickly break this down into different categories. So if you're in this category, this is where I see it going. If you're in this category, this is where I see it going. Or if you're in that. So the first and foremost, if you're the company driver, you guys are probably the best off right now with the costs and the fuel and the parts costs and the shortages and everything like that. You guys honestly are probably the best off. I've noticed in the last few years, or actually not last few years, no, that's a lie, the last year, that looking at all the major carriers in Canada, you guys' pay scale has gone from probably the mid 40s, what you guys were getting paid at this time last year, 42 to 45 cents a mile. You guys are now making upwards of 65, some places 75 cents a mile. And again, that's because trucking companies need drivers right now. So as it sits right now, I think myself personally, I think the best positioned guys in the business right now are the company drivers. So if you're a company driver and you've got a good ride and you're getting your miles and you're making, a good living, if you're getting good miles and you're making 70 cents a mile, you're making a good living. So if you've got that deal going, stick to it. Don't leave it. Okay. The next category would be like the owner operator, say in my position, whereas I own my truck, but I don't own the trailer, and I don't run my own authorities. I'm on with most of it's no secret. I'm on with ET Transport out of Concord, Ontario. That's Toronto. I must say Toronto. And I don't pay for plates, stickers, insurance, tolls, faxes. Ronan or ET, they cover all of that. I'm pretty much responsible for my fuel and my truck payment. I pay for a buy down, so my insurance is a little bit cheaper in the event I have an accident, because my insurance, my deductible is $10,000, but if I pay the buy down, that takes it down to I think it's $2,000. So that's pretty much what I'm responsible for. I pay my IFTA quarterly. That can be anywhere between $300 and $500 quarterly. So as an owner operator, I own the truck. Now, if you're an owner operator today and you've gone out and you've got yourself a big truck and you're making a big payment and you're in this position, you might be okay. I don't suggest it. I didn't do that. I opted to buy a truck, but I was in a position to put a good hefty down payment down. As a lot of you know, I had the Volvo. I sold the Volvo. Got geese flying over. Sold the Volvo and I bought that W9. I then was able to flip that W9, make a hefty profit on that, and then turn around and take all of that and put it down on my Freightliner. Now I bought the Freightliner from ET Transport. It was a 2020, and because of the work I'd done with them on their channel and other things like that, I'll be honest with you, they really cut me a good deal. I paid under market value for that truck. And with the fact that I was able to put a really hefty down payment down, the payment on my truck per month is around $2,000. Now a $2,000 truck payment is really good, considering it's a 2020. It's fully loaded with warranty. It's got extended warranty on it. So a lot of the things that a lot of guys worry about for costs, worrying about breakdowns, I generally don't have to worry about that. I'm on the hook for, let's say light bulbs and tires. Everyday wear and tear, which is the price you pay for doing business. That's what I'm on the hook for. But am I buying big ticket? If the tranny falls out of my truck tomorrow, no, I've got some downtime. I got to deal with downtime, but I don't have to deal with the cost that comes with that. So I'm lucky. So if you're in that kind of position, an owner operator in that position, then you can be okay. I do know guys that are struggling right now that are in the same position as me, but what they did is they went out and bought that brand new Kenworth. They dropped the 260 grand. They put 50,000 down on it. They're carrying, $200,000 payments over 6 years at an interest rate of say 8% or 7%, or like my interest rate was only 6.25 on my truck. Like their payments are, $3,800, $3,900. Now in Canada, if you're a US driver, you go, well, that's not, in Canada, that's terrible. If you're making a $3,900 truck payment in Canada, you're not doing something right. You shouldn't be in that position. If you can't afford to put a payment down, a hefty down payment down on a truck when you're buying in that category at that cost, you shouldn't be buying it. Wait, save up your money until you've got the money to put the payment down, to get your cost down, to get your interest rate will be lower, and to get your monthly payment down. $3,900, $4,000. Friend of mine's paying $4,150 for a TC. He's got it brand new. He's got the 2022 T680. I wouldn't pay that. He's double my truck payment. Double my truck payment. Now, yeah, okay, the thing's getting 8.8 or now almost 9 miles per gallon, but that does not make up the difference between what my truck does and what his truck does. He's got a nice ride. Looks good. It's a comfy ride. I drove the truck, man. It's a Cadillac on wheels. Is what that thing is. It's gorgeous, but it's not worth $4,100 a month. I tell you that. I'll take my freight shaker all day long over that. So that category there where I'm at, if you're in a position like me or around where I am, you can probably get by. I'm struggling at times, and basically I'm struggling with the price of fuel, because that's obviously out of my hands. That's a cost that's not within my control. And parts, and it's not so much the parts because most of my stuff is warranted, but it's the wait time on parts. I did have to put my truck into the shop for some warranty work and for some a recall, and I had to wait for parts. And whereas before you'd go in and get it done, it would take a day, 2 days. Now we're 5-6 days, and for certain things, I know guys that are waiting 5-6 weeks for parts. So if you're in my position, you're okay. Now I think the last group would be the guys that are out there and they're running their, it's the beautiful thing about having kids that still live at home that have a license and they can go get coffee for you. But if you're running your own authorities, and these are the guys that are on the hook for everything. They've bought the truck, they financed the truck, they're paying their own insurance, they've got all of their own authorities, they're dispatching themselves. Now, the pros and the cons of this are, the pros are obviously all the money that you make is yours. There's nobody out there, taking a slice. Now, that don't get me wrong. I don't mean that fact that, the load brokers aren't getting their part, or unless of course, you've got your own authority and your own truck, and you've got, your own direct customers where you cut that middleman out, or you cut the broker out. Then you're doing much, much better. But, there's obviously some people there's still obviously somebody that's got a hand in your pocket. But the guys, the riskiest guys, now these guys take the biggest risk, but they also have the biggest payoff. So if you're willing to gamble and you're willing to run with your own authority. Now, this is something that I'm looking at shortly down the road. If you're willing, you'd have to have your own truck, your own trailer, and now you're obviously on the hook. You've got to have all your own authorities, your running rights. Now in Canada, most of the time there's a company. We have companies up here that will secure all of that for you. You pay a fee, and they get you all of your authorities for all of the states and all the provinces that you want to run in. The last time I checked on that, or the last time we did that, was back in 2017, end of 2018. And I think to go to the permit, the place was out of Stony Creek. I don't remember the name of the place, but it ran $7,800 these bloody gnats are driving me nuts. $7,800, and they get you all your authorities in your running rights. And then you're on the hook for your PRP plates in Ontario. So those are anywhere from, depends on if you're going to heavy haul it and what weights you're going to pull and everything like that. Those are about $3,500 a year. And then you're on the hook for your own insurance. Now the insurance on my truck, now this is when I had the Volvo. That truck ran me $23,000 a year. That was just for the truck. And then another $5,900 for the trailer. So I was around ballpark, 28 and a half, almost $29,000 a year for truck and trailer for full insurance. So that's what you're carrying there. And then you're also on the hook for, and obviously, hopefully you've got a truck that's relatively new and you've gotten some warranty. And if that be the case, then good for you. And then you're obviously on the hook as well for finding your own loads. I would probably, I myself personally, I have a few connections in the business that are going to help me out with that. Whereas I don't have to directly find my load. I can find the loads and I can do them myself. Or I can rely on, I've got a cousin, believe it or not, that does this. And they're willing to help me out with certain things if this is the direction I choose to go. But if you don't have that option and you're finding your own loads, then you're driving the truck, you're securing, you're picking up the loads, delivering the loads. If you're a flatbed or whatever, you're securing the loads. And on top of that, now you've got to spend several hours or time. You got to spend time during the day working with brokers, trying to find your own loads, trying to find your load and your reload. So the risk is significantly higher. Your costs are astronomically ridiculous. Now, guys, remember, this is all Canadian. I know that the U.S. guys, you guys don't pay the ridiculous price we pay for insurance up here. I know that. Your insurance costs are much different. That's only because there's so many more of you than there are of us. So your insurance costs are less than us. Your fuel prices are lower than ours. Blah, 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 blah. But that's just the way that works. There's nothing you can do about it. But like I said, if you're an independent, is what you would be. The payoff, yes, you are going to make more money, and if you can keep your costs factored and reasonable, and within certain parameters, you can do very, very well. I have a friend of mine. He opened up, I think 5 years. He ran 5 years, and he did it very smart. He opened up, ran for 5 years with his own authority, brought on a couple of other trucks. He had 3 trucks of his own, brought on a couple of trucks of his brokers, owner-operators, ran all of them. He ran them for 5 years, made a boatload of money, and then shut it down. Got in and got out. Good business. Smart man. He's now retired. He's my age. He's retiring. He's done. He's had enough. So at the end of the day, there's the 3 of them. There's your company driver, your owner-operator, and then your independent. All 3, you can make money. How you go about doing it is however smart you are doing it will depend on you. So I guess at the end of the day, it's what do you want to do? How big a gamble do you want to take? If you're new, I don't suggest you go out and become an independent right off the bat. Become a company driver. Step up to the position I'm in, where you're become an owner operator. But somebody else is carrying the heavy weight. And then when you've got a handle on that and you think and make sure you're profitable. If you got to make sure you're going to be able to run and be profitable. And if you can manage to do that for a few years, then make the jump to being an independent. I don't suggest, there are guys that have done it and been successful, but I don't suggest that you come right off the bat, go buy your truck, get your authorities and run down the road. There's way too many factors in there that you need to learn before you get to that point. And it'd be too expensive to learn as you go. You'll probably run yourself into the ground while you're learning, and you don't want to do that. So there you go. That's just, that's just where I think the industry's going. And actually that's where it is with the owner operators. Where is the industry going? It's hard to track unless, you've got a room full of people with calculators and graphs and charts and and following every part of the trucking business, it's hard for us as owner operators or as truckers out here to try to, where is this business going? I don't see it get any better in the next few years. I think that there's too much greed. And when I say greed, I mean that between the brokers and the trucking companies, for guys like me that, you know, we're just trying to make a decent living. But there's just too many, you know, here's an example. There's too many companies out there that'll say, oh, we're going to pay you this much per mile. Okay. But then, okay, yeah, they'll pay you that much per mile, but they're going to nickel and dime the hell out of you for every single little teeny thing in the world. So after you break down all your costs and all these little nickel and dime things, you know, your dollar, I mean, let's say round figure, your $1.90 a mile, you're back down to making $1.45 a mile. Who the hell's going to, you can't live on $1.45 a mile these days. And that's the trucking business. That's the trucking companies. The load brokers, these guys are vultures. I know a couple of these guys personally, like friends of mine, and I know what they're making. I know what they're getting a load for and what they're selling that load for, you know, and it's insane. It's insane. I've almost been tempted, if I wasn't such a straight shooter, if I wasn't such a straight shooter, I'd actually think about becoming a load broker, because I could sit at home in my underwear and broker loads, and do really, really well. But it's just not something I can do. I couldn't fuck over a driver. I just couldn't do it. Would I have a problem, you know, adding a few points to a load for a large company? Probably not. But would I be comfortable taking advantage of them like a lot of these brokers do? No, I don't think I could do that either. So at the end of the day, it's so hard between fuel, parts, the cost of trucks, what it's costing to pay drivers, insurance, just road taxes. I mean, the list is freaking endless, people, of what we pay out here. It just goes on and on and on. And you know, the money we're making now, I'm actually, believe this or not, okay, I'm making the same money now, or actually the same or a little bit less than what I was making 10 years ago. Now, the cost of everything around me, the cost of my home, the cost of my cars, the cost of us to eat, the cost of everything has gone up. I don't know what the number is, what the percentage number is, but let's just say it's probably gone up about tenfold. My wage hasn't. It hasn't. And I've got to work now twice as hard to make the same amount of money. I think we are the only industry out there where our wages and our salaries have not gone up at the same rate that the inflation and the cost of living has. I sit there and shake my head sometimes. I go, how the hell are we doing this? I don't know. Let's go start the truck and go to work, though. We got to go to work. So anyway, I just, you know, I was just sitting around having a cigar, drinking my coffee. It's a beautiful morning out here. I've got nothing to do, so I thought I'd throw this together and throw it up. So there you go. Do me a favor, hit the subscribe button and share this. Share it with other drivers. Share it with other truck drivers. If if you're watching this and you know another driver, share it with them. They might appreciate it as well. So yeah, hit the subscribe button, share it, turn on your notifications. We are doing a live. We're going live tomorrow night. Today's Thursday. We're going live tomorrow night. We're going up to Mike Campbell's place. And he's the guy that wrote the Wheel Burner song. Most of you know that. And we're going to be sitting out back Mikey's place, and we're going to have the fire, and we're just going to shoot the shit. There's going to be no politics. We're just going to sit there and talk about trucking and trucks and diesel and smoke and taillights and whatever. And we're just gonna shoot the shit. Hopefully, I think we might have a couple other guys come by and say hi, and so that's going to be tomorrow night. So hopefully we'll see you there with that. Anyway, we will see you down the road.